everybody. Welcome to the TraderMerlin Show. It is your Thursday edition, one day closer to the weekend. Hope you had a great day out there today. Nice bullish moves in our equity markets, which of course hurts me a little bit. It's okay. We're still there. I'm out by tomorrow, though. Tomorrow's my last day. I told myself I'd get out this week, so unfortunately gave back quite a bit of my gains over the past few trading sessions, but it's fine. We'll live through it. Let's see. So today's show is going to be based off of a listener question. I hope that Alex is here today, but I guess I can say hello to everybody. Margaret Katut, check your email after the show. I have a question for you for tomorrow's show, so I will send that out right after today's show. Hello, Ken. Chris, you're going to love this one too because you're into classic cars and these chip makers. Not so many in those old school cars. I guess nowadays they're talking about 1,400 chips per new vehicle created. Pretty nuts to see all that technology. Not like the good old days, right? Big Eb, Tom, good to see you. Believable Direction, Dana. Johan von Vervoort. I love that name. You're in Denver, huh? I've asked you this before, Johan, but you're Dutch, right? Vervoort sounds Dutch or maybe even Scandinavian. Les, Patrick, Kenny, and John Dinardo in first place in the chat room today. All right, here's what I wanted to bring up, at least from a topic perspective. We'll talk about this for a little bit, and then we'll move on. Obviously, I have to adjust my monitor off this side here. I didn't realize it was that big, so we will do this and make it look nice and pretty. Look at that. On-the-fly adjustments. I love the fact I can do all this stuff. I control everything. It's not like this is anything new or surprising to anybody out there. It's this ongoing chip shortage. I've kind of been watching and seeing how it's impacting the markets, and certainly I have my opinions, and I'd love to get all your feedback as well. So the question came in from Alex as, what are your thoughts on the chip shortage and how do you trade it? Well, this is a real tough one for me personally, and the reason I say that it's tough is instinctively my brain tells me, oh, because of this shortage that this is going to happen, right? X, Y, and Z. For example, I guess we need to look at where these chips are being utilized the most. And the easy target is the automobile industry. But let's be honest, your refrigerators, our toothbrushes, our phones. I mean, I'm looking around here. I've got all kinds of electronic devices. iPhones, very heavy in chips as well. There's a lot of different markets that could be impacted. And I guess it's to what extent and which types of chips maybe are part of this shortage crisis. So I thought I would show you a couple of really cool little factoids that I brought out here, at least from the automotive industry. And this is really for new cars. So you can see the top 10 biggest models being hit by this chip shortage. This was as of May. I think it's actually getting worse right now. You selling some video cards today, huh? You do some crypto mining on this show? Notice the Ford F-Series, right? That's their flagship, the F-150. 109,000 vehicles not being produced or not to the finish lines, if you will, because of chips. And you can see the top ones there, Ford. So if instinctively, if I am a long-term investor here, I'm looking at Ford going, man, it looks like a great shorting opportunity for Ford, does it not? I mean, it seems like a lot of their vehicles are just not going to make it to the end production. I've been reading all these articles about companies literally just parking their unfinished vehicles in lots, waiting for the chips so they can finish. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, the numbers range between 500, I guess you're buying a Yugo or something, and up to like 1,500 of chips per, so like 1,400 seem to be the going number for an average vehicle in the US. That's a lot of chips. And of course, it's taillights and sensors and cameras and everything, heated seats and all that kind of stuff. But when you have these kinds of numbers and you have a situation like this where so many brands are going to be impacted. So it's the F-150, the Explorer, the Edge, the Escape, the Transit. Instinctively, my gut just says, well, hell, how do you trade it, Alex? I'd be looking at something like Ford, right? Because if Ford's not going to be making any sales off these vehicles, they may just kind of be falling behind, if you will, and that's obviously going to hurt their bottom line. One of the numbers that I saw from Alex Partners was talking about the automobile industry losing $210 billion in 2021 sales because of the chip shortage. That's monstrous, right? That's going to be a massive bottom line hit. So that said, what are some of the ways that you might trade this? Well, as I mentioned, my gut would have been like, well, let's start shorting Ford, right? Well, if this chip shortage is that bad, look at Ford's chart. It looks great. I mean, you guys know me well enough. This is one I'd be saying buy it, right? Go long on Ford because the trend has been up since early 2020. It's been pretty much nothing but an uptrend. I haven't seen a new low made in quite some time. So this is where I get kind of conflicted, because your gut says, I'm reading all this bad news, this chip shortage is epic, Ford's not producing over 220,000 vehicles that, actually I think it's that, it says Ford, Stellantis, and GM combined for 855,000 in reduced vehicle production in the US 10 automakers. The other one's just about 220,000. So we're looking about 1 million vehicles not being produced. Of course, you would think, God, that's got to just kill Ford, right? Again, if I went off my gut, I'd be losing money, because Ford has just been rolling to the upside here, looking strong and stronger and stronger and stronger. So, yeah, I don't know, Alex. To me, you kind of have to step back and feel like we're being manipulated to some extent, because this looks like they don't really have a problem, do they? Now, I also know that they're also selling for much higher prices. Again, they're kind of going into premiums with vehicles. So my friend recently bought a vehicle and had to pay a significant premium. I have multiple friends that are in that situation where they're paying well over sticker price just to get a new vehicle. And that's largely part due to that chip shortage as well. Now, I guess the question is it getting better? Or are we in a situation where it's being resolved and all of a sudden we're seeing factories come back online? I guess more importantly, what was causing this chip shortage? Obviously, COVID shutting down factories, and then you combine that with the awful shipping situation going on right now because of ports closing and lack of help, and all of a sudden we have this kind of double whammy. But you would think it would be resolved rather quickly. Well, here's the current trend, according to Bloomberg, with regards to the delay, the wait for chips, and it's been rising again. It just rose another like five days over the last week. So, yeah, Don, you're right. He says, can't worry about what the news is selling you. And that's why I wanted to mention this, because if you look at it at face value, you would be thinking, well, hell, I got to start shorting cars. I got to short Maytag and General Motors and GE, and right, because all these appliances aren't getting their chips. But, I'll look at a whole bunch of different automakers here. You're not looking so bad, right? So is it the buy the rumor, sell the news factor? I don't know. I personally am not making a play in that space just because I don't know what to believe here. I am not in the chip maker space. I'm not out there at STM or Intel or AMD talking to their CEOs and production departments saying, hey, how many have you shipped? How many haven't? I've been in this industry long enough to know that almost everybody's lying to me. It's sad but true. So there is this big delay, keeps on spiking up here. I think that that's actually rather interesting, because if this continues to go up, well, maybe these impacts will be more significant, and we'll start to feel that punch to the gut a little bit more. So that said, let's go to our automobile manufacturers, and we'll just run through let's see, let's go Toyotas, TM, right? And this isn't just a U.S. thing. This is global. Toyota Motors, looking great. It looks like it just came down to a demand zone. Buy the dip. Trend's your friend. Keep going long. I mean, even though you think it's abysmal for him, it looks good. No, Brandon doesn't get to come on the show. He's over here just pouting because he didn't get to come on today. Brandon will be on next week, though, guys. I'll bring him on. Just because it's Brandon. I got to get my overweight younger brother on the program, so we'll bring Brandon on the program. Oh, here we go. Now I know he's going to come right back at me. Here's the same thing. Look at General Motors, right? Yeah, we saw that chart talking about how they're not doing so well with regards to chips, but they look healthy to me. They look real healthy. We did make a new low, but all of a sudden we're ripping right back up, and we're starting to see breaking through some of these most recent highs. So looks pretty darn good. How about we had the Ford chart up there? So we got Ford, we got Toyota. Let's look at one that might be a bit exotic. Let's look at Ferrari. That's RACE would be the symbol for Ferrari. And we don't want to do the Milan one, we'll do New York. All right, Ferrari flatlined. Rare that you see somebody say flatline with regards to Ferrari, but okay, most of us aren't in that Ferrari space, and probably more money in the Ford space as well. One that I thought might be interesting was, now let me skip that one. I want to go to P-Car. So P-Car is major truck manufacturer, right? Big rig is Peterbilt and that type of thing. This is another one that kind of surprises me, because this does not look as strong as we saw with Ford and General Motors, right? It's really been drifting down for all of 2021, and I would actually think that these guys would be moving up given the demand to increase shipping and transportation. Since we're seeing such lags in transportation, not just in boats and shipping for vessels on the ocean, but also cross country. I know we got a couple people here who are truckers, right? We got people in this crowd who are truckers today, and you're probably seeing this. I mean, I'm sure there's a little bit of a shortage going on, most likely with the staff, not necessarily the vehicles in that space. Batista, I like that one. I got to say, I don't think it's a chip shortage. It's more of a couch potato surplus. You're probably right, my friend. You're probably right. Believable direction. Aren't most chips made in Taiwan? Well, I don't know all of that, but I know there's a ton of chips made in Taiwan. There's also stuff made here in the U.S., but again, it just boils down to factories shutting down. Now, do they ever get to come back online? We'll see. Let me just go through a couple more car makers here because I do think it's interesting to look at them all. HMC, which is Honda Motor Corp. All right, that one's looking rather flat as well. So out of all these, the American automakers look the best. And I don't know whether that's just the fact that we're starting to buy, maybe purchasing more domestic. The tariffs to get foreign cars over here are just too much. There's delays. But the other way, you look at Ford, better chart, and you look at GM, better chart than we saw with things like Honda Motor Corp, HMC. Now, that said, there's a lot of other ones that could seriously be impacted. And again, we did a show on this probably a year and a half ago, looking at things like Lucid, CCIV, right? Looking at these EV plays. Oops. Looking at EV plays. That one doesn't look so great. You've had Li Motors as well, Li Auto. All right, again, trending down over the past few months and kind of not the best. Tesla is interesting because Tesla was on record saying that they stockpiled chips before a lot of this. So you have companies out there that kind of planned for this, and there you go. How many chips are in a Tesla? Pull up Tesla's chart. There you go, Don. And again, I think that this has to do with executive leadership and foresight, knowing that these problems were starting to rise and making big plays. I know that Apple as well made big purchases of semiconductors, knowing that there would potentially be a shortage, and now they're running out of inventory. So we are hearing the talk track again that Apple may soon yeah, you're right. You're right, Don. That Apple may soon run out of chips as well. So I thought that was kind of interesting to check out. There's also some pretty prominent people like the CEO of STM Semiconductors basically saying we won't be out of this till 2023. You had Elon Musk saying we won't be out of this till probably 2022. So another year of all this. Intel CEO saying it could be a couple of years till we get back on track. So let me read Tom's comment here. Nobody ever talks about the root cause of chip shortages. Factories were closed for a few months over a year ago and should be running at capacity since then. China's messing with us. Well, is it really back to full capacity? Yes, I'm pretty sure most of them are getting back online. But as Batista points out, I think we got a bunch of really lazy people who just don't want to go back to work. At some point, they'll have to go back to work. Let's cut them all off unemployment. There's some people that have legitimate reasons why they can't work. But there's others who just go, meh. I know a few of them. I don't want to work. I'm getting paid plenty. It's fine. And again, a lot of people using the fear factor, how they're so afraid of COVID, don't want to go back out in the real world. I get that as well. So from my perspective, Alex, how do you capitalize on it? I don't know. I don't think there's a direct play. I still think it goes right back to the price charts. You look at those price charts and you say, hey, you know what? If I got a strong trend, and let's go, as Don pointed out, it's LCID. CCIV was the old firm. This looks maybe even worse. This looks like the chart of the Russell 2000 for the past 6 months to a year. Just pretty much flatline between 18 and 18? 18 and 24. But if you look at something like Ford, buy those pullbacks. You could throw a moving average on here, and you're probably going to see bouncing off this, or draw your trend lines on here and just stay with it until that trend proves you wrong. So I'm not so concerned, Alex, about the chip shortage. What I will tell you is this, and I think some of you may have experienced this one as well. It's that the prices of so many things are going up. And I think what we'll see, for me, it's not exactly like the trading side of it is how to trade a chip shortage, because personally, I'm not going to trade any differently. I'm just going to go off what the price charts are telling me. When I formulate those opinions and a hypothesis, I tend to get myself in trouble, as you guys saw back in 2020 when I had my big put position on. So for me, it's more about looking at what might be coming down the pipeline. If we do have this continued chip shortage and continued problems with shipping, then, holiday season's going to be a bit bleak. So I'll tell you one thing for me personally, I'm not buying anything right now. I'm not going out there and buying new refrigerators, or I'm not going to buy a new car. I'm not going to buy anything big ticket item, because what I think is going to happen is this. Elon Musk has been on record saying this should be done by 2022. There's a lot of new factories being constructed, and we should see supply increase. If we get everybody back to work, the chip shortage should subside rather quickly. It's not going to happen overnight because there's significant backlogs on inventory at this point. But we'll start to see that slow down, and we'll get back to some semblance of normality. But if we have more factories coming online, then all of a sudden we get back, not only back to normal very quickly, but because of this increased production, we might even start to see prices of these items like vehicles, like appliances, start to drop because the cost for these chips is cheaper due to increased competition. So, Margaret, back to toys like wooden blocks. Yeah, I used to get pie tins. My mom used to buy me these little metal pie tins and cupcake tins, and I'd make mud pies outside. Yeah, that explains a lot, right? Go play in the dirt, kid. Oh, the old school. So that's my take on it. I do think that there's an issue with the chip shortage, but honestly, it's not impacting me in any way at this point because I'm not buying any of these items. I'm not a real big spender anyway, as most of you know. But I will tell you what, I told you guys that I really do want to buy a brand new Tundra. Well, it doesn't have to be a Tundra, but I was kind of excited to see what Toyota would do. I used to have a Tundra. I now have a Tacoma, which I love it, but I want a bigger truck so I can move some stuff around. I'll probably wait till this chip shortage has not only subsided, but inventory of those chips is full for all the auto manufacturers, which will all of a sudden bring a flood of vehicles onto the market. And I feel like I will probably get a great deal on my truck, maybe late 2022 or early 2023, when all of a sudden these trucks have been sitting on the side of the road waiting for chips, are now all of a sudden on the market, including all the other models. And I think that you could have a flood and influx of vehicles, and all of a sudden we get some great deals. So to me, it's about market timing to make my purchases, right? To make my timing on those types of things. And again, I don't see necessarily looking at this chip shortage is impacting any of these companies directly. I mean, again, we looked at those charts. This does not look like a chip shortage to me. This looks like they're doing just fine. Okay, well, I'll go back to work to get those factories back online. There you go. Good for you, gal. Good. Hey, you know what? Get them back online. Get those things working, right? I don't want to be paying overprice for a vehicle. Part of the fun of going to buy a car is seeing the sticker price and going, all right, you want $50,000 for that? I'll give you 30 cash today. Oh my God! Then you need a little haggling, but you should never have to pay sticker price. Wouldn't it be nice if we did that with grocery stores? You walk in there and be like, oh, you want how much for that prime rib? $9.99 a pound. I'll give you $7. That's as high as I'm going, right? It's Thanksgiving. I can't afford that kind of money. Yeah, good. Catherine says their appliances are also impacted by the shortage, and my microwave and wall oven combo just went kaput. Well, hold out. Don't go buy it right now. Yes, Don, I do options. Grab some shares and collect rent on them, selling calls and puts against them. Against out of the money. I agreed. There's a lot of different ways to capitalize on it, but I felt like there's too much hysteria put on the chip shortage. I mean, I'm looking around. It's not like it's the end of the world. Yes, everything revolves around chips and uses them, but there's plenty of inventory of vehicles and appliances that aren't necessarily brand new that have those chips as well. Mario, I got the best deal on my car. It's called a bicycle. Hey, well, I got an e-bike, I'll sell you, and a nice premium over what I paid for it because of shipping costs and chip shortages. All right, so that's my take on it, Alex. I don't see taking advantage of it really like from the price charts. My trading would be exactly the same as it was. Same normal trading. Just trade the price patterns on the charts and try not to let that media spin fool you, as I was talking about it the other day. Wouldn't it be different if there was a news channel called Good News and it was just happy, good stuff? And today, there was no traffic on the 405, and in Kansas City, people were going door to door giving out bottles of water. So nobody cares for that crap. They want to see accidents and tragedy and violence, and they need sensationalism. They need a chip shortage. They need a COVID virus to keep us in fear and make us all worried about everything. Look, it's probably not that bad. I think it's a little bit over manufactured, if you will. Yep, there you go. What else we got? Just can't buy a new video game console with, oh, I know. And that actually sucks, right? Because I know you can't, there's certain things, and again, this goes right back to my point about waiting. So Kenny says you just can't go out and buy a good video game console without paying double. That's right. If you look at the Xboxes, if you look at the PlayStations, they're coming down, right? When PlayStation came out, when did they come? The PS, was that last year? It's been that long. Time is just flying. I remember when they came out, it was for Thanksgiving last year. You're paying 3-4 times as much for them. Now the prices are dropping, but still that shortage will make them a very desirable topic for the market. So you'll see those things still demanding a top price until they get back online with those chips. But you know what? If you want to spend the money and to me throw that money away, then go ahead and buy one. Or just wait until everything comes back online and we'll all be fine. Let's see, Tom. Big Ed mentioned Japan Renesas plant made about 1/3 of auto chips before a fire shut down. Well, and there's some of that. I think that the big factor, though, is that factories shut down because of COVID, but we're obviously going to have some of that where major plants shut down. I didn't know that they were doing 1/3 of the chips before, but there we go. Okay, is that why you're trying to sell your graphics cards, Koja? You're going to sell me some mining chips? All right, let me go into other stuff today. We got any Shiba Inu fans? Who's a Shiba Inu fan here? I know that Don Fran is. He's probably loaded up on Shiba Inu because I just can't stand that coin, right? Our wonderful shitcoin out there, Shiba Inu. I got to bring this up today because it actually came up in the crypto investor program I was doing this morning. You know, it's one of those things that everybody brags about it and talks about it now after it has a move like this. You guys notice this monster move to the upside, huge. It's 300, almost 400% in just 4 days. And everyone's like, oh, well, this is it. It's going to $1. It's going to $1. It's like, oh, God, I can't stand when people say this thing's going to $1. It's not going to happen. It's mathematically impossible. There's not enough money in the world to push this thing to $1. It's just not going to happen. So, you know, you got to ask yourself, what do you want to do with it? Well, I had a 10x leverage short position in Shiba Inu last night. It's kind of funny, actually. I'll bring up the 15-minute here. I think I might actually have my line still drawn. Yeah, so this line, actually I was short right about this line with a 10x, right? So you can use leverage on different exchanges out there. So I had 10x short my normal, so using 10x leverage. And it was funny because I got margined out right on this spike right here, and that took about $3,300 of the capital. So I think at the time, actually, $2,800 of capital. So the account only had $3,300 in it, and it lost $2,800 of it. So it left me with $500. And now, if I didn't get taken out, I would be up well over 100% in that very short period of time. Gotta love margin and leverage. But you know, when things go parabolic like they did with Shiba Inu last night or last past week, I'm generally more cautious and going to move away from it, right? It still doesn't have use case scenarios. It still does not have a big community. It still is a shitcoin. It still has 400 trillion tokens out there. So it's the classic pump and dump one. My guess is you'll see maybe another run up, but it'll come back down to where it was, down here somewhere down here near this consolidation level where it just ripped out of. So this is a great pump one. A couple different ones, Don. If you have VPNs, you can use FTX or STX exchanges. You can use Binance. You can use other ones outside the U.S. with a VPN. Those are generally the ways to go there. So had to show that one. It's been a pretty good few days for crypto. There's a couple in here like we've been looking at, Fathom and Luna also doing very well, but those have much better trends than you see with something like Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu just kind of came out of nowhere and was like, oh, look, we're doing great. Boom, let's jump on it. And now I got all these people on social media claiming that they're just rich now because of Shiba Inu. It's like, how much you have in there, buddy? $100? So now you got 400? Congratulations, you're awesome. Polkadot as well. This is really quickly building up to be one of my bigger positions, but 7% on Polkadot today. Some good stuff, some good moves. Yep, I agree with Don. He says pumps always have that second run, and then all of a sudden they come ripping down. I mean, it's just absolutely to the floor sometimes. So we'll see. You know, and again, I only poo-poo on Shiba Inu because it's a shitcoin. It has no use case. If you want to juggle chainsaws, that's fine. With my crypto stuff and things that I'm invested in, I'm not investing in any shitcoins. It's like I want to find things that have look down the road, right? I want to see things that might actually have a sustainable product. I can look at my Ethereum or my Bitcoin or my Polkadot or Cardano or Civic and say, this is what they're trying to accomplish. This is the problem in society that this crypto program is trying to fix. Shiba Inu is like, hey, we're a fake coin of a shit coin, so we're a copy of a shit coin, and we basically just pump ourselves up on social media. That's pretty much what they do. You could buy 1 million Shiba Inu for $24. Yes, I think today, when I looked at the numbers, I was like in 190 million shares of Shiba Inu. So I was a gajillionaire. Woo! Does them burning supply of tokens make any difference? Not really. Not really. When you have that much, it doesn't make a difference. You know, you could say you're burning 1 million a day. They have 400 trillion right now, right? So you burn 1 million a day. It would take you decades to burn enough to make it significant. Yeah, Don. You know, it's funny because I hate social media. I hate it with a passion. Especially watching what's going on with Capitol Hill and the Facebook leaks and I just see what it's done to a lot of my friends. It's completely, it's polarized them and made them, become radicals in certain areas. It's also created enemies amongst friends because people's opinions are so strong. But yeah, there's so much crap disseminated out there now. I love when I see all these people saying that they're killing it with Shiba Inu, and I just want to go, how much money do you have on it? Right? Because you put it $100, right? Wow, you're amazing. It's like, yeah, talk to me when you got 100 grand on the line, 200 grand on the line. Now you're really, that's swinging some big money. But congrats to all those that made money on Shiba Inu. Good luck doing it long term, because this one will go right back down to where it belongs, which is where it was for the better part of the last 6 months or so. Yeah. What do I think of synthetics, SNX? Good. I like synthetics. I think that they're good. It's just the challenge is most of these you can't use as a U.S. citizen. You got to go in there with a VPN, which has its own inherent risks. But synthetics, you have FTX. Those are your two primary big decentralized exchanges. And what I like about them is you can trade all sorts of derivatives there, right? I can get 10-to-1 leverage and on kind of a spot leverage. I can go to futures and potentially get 100-to-1. A lot of them are using 100-to-1 leverage as a carrot for you to fill out all the KYC AML information. Some of them don't require you to fill out any documentation at all, and that's cool, because I'd rather not have everybody know where my money is at with regards to regulators and governments. Again, I'm paying taxes on it all, but it's my money. I should do with it what I want. Let's see. Talk to me, sell it. Yeah, you're talking about the guys with the Shiba Inu, right? Exactly. I'm diamond hands, baby. I'm diamond hands, or whatever that symbol is. Hey, thanks, JBS. I appreciate that. That helps out a lot, man. Thank you so much. As the token, I don't own any. It was on my list. I ended up buying FTT, which is the token for FTX exchange, which of course is competition to synthetics. But both of them I like. I will probably add some SNX. My only concern in going and buying tokens of decentralized exchanges is U.S. regulators. Remember, if you look at these decentralized exchanges, it's a threat to centralized businesses. So NYSE, the NASDAQ, hell, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, these guys are all under a big regulatory gun. Is it really, Michael? I got to look at that because it hasn't been. Actually, I was looking at FTX. FTT is not on pro.coinbase, but maybe STX is. If it is, I'll pick some up. I got a few grand there. Might buy some tomorrow if the price is right. Cool. I did not know that was on Coinbase Pro. I know that they were having issues, and the reason that's good is because if SNX is on Coinbase Pro, then that means that they have, let's just say, an amicable relationship with regulators. FTX does not at this point, and they're sponsoring almost every sporting event around the world. It's crazy right now. So here we go on Coinbase Pro. Let me just go and check real quick. We'll go SNX. There you go. You do have synthetics on the USD, Euro, British Pound, and Bitcoin. Awesome. That's good to know. $10 a coin. So yeah, that'll be probably one of the newer additions to my portfolio, simply because I do like the concept of decentralized exchanges. I am a huge fan of it. I just think you're going to get a lot of lobbying from these major financial firms. Because remember, the more transactions I do outside of the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ or CME or CBOE, that's lost revenue for them. So they obviously have lobbyists who are going to be fighting to shut these decentralized exchanges down. But hey, it's my money. I should be able to do what I want with it. And to me, that's the beauty of decentralized exchanges. I have a Shiba Inu dog, lots of energy, and has a face like a fox. Well, I'm good. I'm glad you have one like that, Mike. Cool. Yeah, I actually think I put that. I have a spreadsheet that maps out all the different yield rates for, I think I've got 10 or 12 different exchanges on there, and some of them pay a lot, but they do change regularly. So while Celsius has been pretty good about paying higher fees, so was BlockFi. BlockFi was really good at paying a good amount for Bitcoin or other cryptos, and then all of a sudden they dropped it significantly. It's not even worth keeping money at BlockFi. That might happen with Celsius as well. I'll get to that, Chowski. Jimmy T says, what's the difference between centralized and decentralized? Very simple example I'll give you right now. I'm going to have to take a sip of water here. So let's think of centralized would be something like Wells Fargo. So I take $100,000, let's say $10,000, and I put that in a centralized exchange. I put it in my Wells Fargo checking account or savings account. $10,000, Wells Fargo is going to pay me 0.1% interest on that, if that. So for my $10,000, I might make $10 a year in interest. Big deal. Man, that's what, 2 beers, if that. So what they're doing is they're taking that $10,000, they're holding a couple $100 of reserves as required by the Fed, and then they'll loan out like $9,500. And they loan it out to somebody who's paying, let's call it 7% interest. So basically what happens is your bank has taken $10,000. They're going to pay $10 to borrow that money from you, and they're going to make 7% interest on it. And then they do that again and again and again. It's called fractional reserve lending, or fractional reserve banking. So problem is it's centralized. So why is centralized a problem? Because let's say, Jimmy, right now, everything's going great for you, but you hit a kid on a bicycle tomorrow. Knock on wood, that's a horrible example. But let's say you accidentally hit a kid at a crosswalk. The kid runs into you. How about that? Not even your fault, but the kid runs into you. And he breaks his leg. But what if that was a politician's kid? That politician could go out there and come up with some crazy lawsuit against you, and all of a sudden you find that your bank accounts are frozen. Now that's a stretch, right? I think we all probably not going to happen. But what if? The point I'm making here is the bank can go to and freeze your assets. The government can go in and seize your assets right now in any bank account you have in America. 100%. Anybody disagree with me on that? The government can go in there and say, you know, Jay, we're freezing your accounts. But why? I didn't do anything. Now we have to prove that it's ours, or whatever the reason may be, wherever they shut it down. That's centralized. Centralized gives the power to one person. It also creates vulnerability. Because if you are a hacker, where are you going to go? You're going to go to the person who has all the data. So I'm going to go hack databases of Experian, Equifax, Amazon, you know, all who's got the data. It's vulnerable. So not only is it a threat from a hacking perspective, but it's also a threat to you as the consumer because they hold all the information. You could use somebody like a Google, for example. They're a centralized entity, and what do? They watch single thing you do, and they sell that data. It'd be a totally different ballgame if I was getting a check for some of that money every year. I'd be like, hey, sell it, man. You give me $5,000 a year to track all my data? I'm in. Let's do it. That doesn't happen. That's centralized. Decentralized says, let's take the power away from those people and give it to everybody that makes up the community, right? To me, that is the power of decentralized finance. So when you look at DeFi, there isn't a way to shut it down, right? You can't go into something like Bitcoin, which is decentralized, and say, we're stopping Bitcoin. China tried it. What happened? People just moved out of the country, and I can show you on a map right now, there's still people in China mining Bitcoin. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. There's a really cool mining map. I forget what it's called. No. I forgot where it was, but there was a really cool map that showed you where all of the mining was going on right now. And it lights up different parts of the world. And China has plenty of it going on, right? You don't seem like there's, here you go. There's your map right here. Remember, it's banned in China. You cannot mine Bitcoin in China. Really? That's where a bulk of it's happening. And what's happening is because China does this, it's pushing out these people to other areas of the world, which is fine. But you can't shut it down, right? You cannot completely freeze it. Eric says, what about Swiss banks and the like? Well, you know, there's a certain prestige to these Swiss banks, right? They're about anonymity. They don't want people to know who their clients are, etc. That's what makes Swiss banks so appealing. This is better. Because here's the thing. And let's say you've got $1 million sitting in a Swiss bank account. However you got it, who cares? It doesn't bother me. Could the Swiss bankers freeze that account? Could they prevent you from accessing that money? Yes, they can. On this device right here, I have about $250,000 worth of crypto. I've moved some stuff around, so it jumped up a little bit. So this device is money. No one can take this away from me. It's on the device. I control the private keys. That is mine. So no one can shut it down. The government can't say, hey, we're going to freeze your Bitcoin. How are you going to do that? You don't have the account number to freeze. Oh, we're going to take your Polkadot. No, you can't. How are you going to take my Polkadot? You don't have my private key. I do. So that's the big difference between centralized and decentralized. Decentralized says we're removing that intermediary, which usually charges commissions and fees and slows the process down and has absolute power. And we're giving that power back to the individuals, those who make up the network. That's why Bitcoin is so popular, because it's probably one of the more decentralized products out there. Is Coinbase decentralized? No, it is not. Coinbase is absolutely centralized. So right now, if you have a Coinbase account and they decide, regulators come in and said, freeze Jimmy T's account, boom, done. You're screwed. If, you know, for whatever reason they want to stop you from accessing your account and say, oh, your password doesn't work anymore, you're now blocked out. That's a centralized exchange. It's a risk that's you kind of have to be willing to take to use something like Coinbase or Kraken or even Binance. You think I see Nigerian mining also banned? I think don't know about that one. So that helped, Jimmy. Hopefully that made a little clear on why it's so important for me. You know, if I wanted to send Don, so we got Don Prawn with us today. If I need to send him 50 grand, I have to go to my bank, fill out a bunch of paperwork. You know, go through all these different forms and where's it coming from? Who's it going to? Who is Don Prawn? Why were you sending him 50 grand? What's he going to do with that money? Personally, it's none of your business. It's my money. I have 50 grand. With Decentralized, I can send this anywhere in the world and nobody can stop it. So let's just assume I'm having a good day and I've got $1 trillion I want to send you. If I try to do that in America, I'm going to have FBI at my door. You're sending $1 trillion? Hold on a second. No. Freeze that. Margaret, even if you use Zelle, there's limits. And if you use Zelle over a certain amount, you're going to be all reported and documented to regulatory agencies. I believe right now the number in the U.S. is anything over 10,000 gets reported to the IRS. But you start doing hundreds of thousands, trust me, they'll be all over you. And they'll say, sorry, we can't trade that much on Zelle. They can't take it, but can they limit the value by limiting the transaction? A believable direction. Are you referring to what China's doing, basically saying that you can't transact in Bitcoin in China? Well, what I could use is I could use a VPN and go to some other place and use that marketplace, right? There are decentralized exchanges where nobody really cares what you do, right? You could use something like Uniswap or SushiSwap where they don't care. You can go in there with your cryptos, use your custodial wallets, and just swap it for whatever you want. Oh, yeah, exactly. I saw that one. Biden wants to know every transaction over $600. Great. Yeah. Big Brother's not watching, guys. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. I'll come to you if you want to give me 50 grand. Hey, I could just make my $1 trillion platinum token. Would you accept that? Exactly. And, you know, it's funny, Eric. We look at, I know we've got international viewers here, but if you look at the U.S. right now, at least from your perspective and my perspective, that, you know, this is the land of the free, the home of the brave, and we've got more freedom than any part of the world. When you look at it, while we do have a lot more freedoms, there still are a lot of things that are too controlled. You know, if I have something, if I want to give you guys anything, anything that I own and I have the rights to it, there's not a person on earth who should tell me I cannot do that. I heard China doesn't allow VPNs either. Well, it's kind of hard to not allow VPNs. You can use them anywhere, right? I'm sure if China caught you with a VPN, maybe there's some recourse there, but people are using VPNs all the time, right? Just a way to get around. It's funny, I was using it in the Crypto Investor Live program this morning. We were looking at FTX Exchange, and I can't get in there from the US. It's funny, I'll show you guys. It's really funny. I don't have the VPN set up right now, but I'll just show you this. If you go ftx.com or .us, actually let's do .com. It's kind of funny because I like FTX, but if you look here, notice it right away. Oh, FTX is a U.S. licensed cryptocurrency exchange that welcomes American users, buy and sell dozens, but you can't go to international. So if you go to ftx.us, what you get is you can just buy and sell Bitcoin or this list here, right? It's all you can do. When you go to the international one, there's all these tabs across the top. You can trade leverage tokens, you can trade futures products, you can get all kinds of crazy things created that we can't get in the US simply because, I don't know, our regulators have made it hard for us to do so and put restrictions on it. So there's an ftx.us and ftx.com. If you have a VPN, check out ftx.com. The range of products are going to make you just, it's crazy how much other people in the world can do over what we can do. So if you have a VPN, that might be a way to do it. Let's see. Is there a decentralized exchange in the U.S.? Yeah. Well, there's decentralized ones you can use with custodial wallets. So, for example, I mentioned things like SushiSwap and you have 1inch and these types of decentralized exchanges. As long as you have a custodial wallet that'll allow you to access those, you can do those. But those are mainly swapping. You need to understand there's a lot of risks involved with that. There's liquidity pools. There's impermanent loss. There's all sorts of things that make it challenging to use those protocols, but I'm not going to get into that here. I'll save that for my program. That's the fun stuff. BTC mining map drills down into China, and the vast majority of mining is in the far west Rogue province. Yeah, I wish I could have a better chart. I don't know why this one... I had one earlier, which was awesome. It gave little dots, so you could see exactly who was where and what their mining rates look like. Oh, here we go. This one's a little better. But, you know, you look at it, there's still a lot of mining going on in China, right? A lot. It's bright red, which means there's a whole bunch of it coming there. Now, this may actually change here soon. What I do know is that some of the Ethereum ones and some of the Bitcoin ones will be moving out mid-October. So it will be interesting to see how this changes over the next few months, because I'm sure that Chinese government is going to continue the heavy-handed crackdown, which I mentioned to you guys before. I think is very stupid. Honestly, I think China's making a big mistake here. You're pushing out innovation. You're pushing out new ideas and technology, which could be the future of financial markets. And they're saying, we don't want that here. The reason is they want to push the yuan and push their own project out there. Let's see. Is there a VPN you would recommend? No, not really. NordVPN's a real popular one. I use one. I don't really want to recommend the one I'm using because it's kind of sketchy. It's a decentralized VPN. It's called Mycelium, and Mycelium is free. It's just a little, it's still got its problems, but it's free. And of course, I'm one that likes free. I've been kind of using it a little bit just because I'm concerned that there might be something going on the back end of it. But right now, Mycelium is the one I'm using because it's free. What do you say, Tom? First map was a time-lapse feature. Ooh, did it? Well, let's see if I can go to that one again. Damn, I don't remember which one I was on. I have a much cooler map, but let's see if this one is it. Is this the one? Hit play. All right, accept those cookies. You guys see my map. So it's March, April 20, August. Yeah, do you see China changing at all? Not really. 19. Okay, we're in 2020 right now. It's February, March, April, May, June, July. It's not changing color, which means no big deal. August, here's where it should change, right? Oh no, it should be 2021. I'm sorry, we still got a ways to go. So we're in 2021, and I'm waiting to see if China changes colors. It should lighten a little bit, but I'm not seeing it. We're in March. It only goes up to March. Unfortunately, but there you go. There's your time lapse. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, that was a bunch of random topics out there. There was one. Let's go. I want to move forward to another topic here. Where was that one? Okay, this is what I want to talk about. Just to shift away from crypto, Darcy sent in this one, and I want to bring this up because the charts are kind of interesting. What you requested. So she says, I'm in 3 positions. I was wondering if I should stay in the trade or get out. Again, that's totally up to you. That's not for me to make that decision, Darcy. But I'll throw my 2 cents at it just to see what they are. I'll read them out loud since I have a lot of people on the podcast. USD, the entry price is 126.70. The stop loss is 127.35, and the profit target is 124.9. Now, that's just for the USD CAD. I'm going to bring these charts up here in just a second. Actually, let's just do that right now. Let me go here. And I actually put these in earlier. So let's go to the USD CAD, which was your first one, and that is up here in my forex portfolio. Why? There we go. So there you have the USD CAD. So you're looking at shorting it. You really have this big sideways action. And I got to say, Darcy, I'm not really that big a fan of this one. Why? Well, I'm okay with the target. The target's fine, but it's traversing sideways. And I'm not quite sure why you picked this zone between 126.7 and 127.3. So I will whittle this down to, let's say, a 4-hour time frame, and maybe that gives me a better perspective. Still, it's wide. We all draw our zone slightly differently, even if you've been through core strategy. That wouldn't be my zone. I wouldn't use that as my zone. My zone would be much tighter. I would be more up in here. Something like that would be my zone. And even that, you kind of got a tested zone already. So I'd move between 127.1 and 127.38. So it's not the biggest zone. It's 23 pips. But that's where I would put it. And I'm okay with the target. You're down at the origin of that move, that real big one, but it's been tested many times. So that's the USD CAD. The second one that you wanted to take a peek at was the Euro USD, one of my personal favorites right now. You talk about catching a falling knife. You say your entry price is 115.39. Your stop loss is 114.89, and your profit target is 122.67. Okay. Yes, by the way, Catherine talks about Surfshark. Surfshark, if you buy it by the month, it's not that cheap. If you buy it by the 2-year package, it's like $2 a month. It's a great deal, and I've read a lot of great things about them. Surfshark would be, if I was going to buy one, it would probably be Surfshark just because it's very cheap, and it looks like it has all the features and functions I want. All right, so here is the Euro USD. Why does it? There's the lines you chose. So I got a question on this one. It's very rare, everybody, that you're going to have this small of a reward and take that big a risk. I mean, sorry, this giant of a risk and this small of a. I gotta take that. I'm wording it wrong. This is the small amount of risk and a massive reward. I mean, this is a huge imbalance here. So I first got to ask why you chose this level down here between 115.39 and 114.89 between your entry and your target. To me, it looks like it's just getting weaker and weaker. So you're kind of catching the falling knife here. And on the daily, I don't see anything that's just screaming at me with regards to this zone over here. So let me see real quick. Guys, hold on 1 second here. I have to answer this door. My dog's going crazy. Give me 1 second here to hold on, Yoa. I have a carpet cleaner showing up, so hold on 1 sec. Yeah, that was weird. Sorry about that. I guys ringing my doorbell, and I've got my German Shepherd barking. I need to get carpets clean. So I'm not sure exactly why you chose that zone there, Darcy. What I would do normally is just go out here and say, let me check it out in a smaller time frame, like 4 hours, and zip over there and see if it looks like anything noteworthy. And not that it isn't noteworthy, it just didn't look good on the daily time frame. A little better. I actually like this zone lower. So just from a line perspective, I actually really like this one here. Again, personal preferences. So I'd make my buy point 114.71 and my stop loss would be below 114.19, right? That would be that would be my spot there. And again, your target. This concerns me as well. The reason I say it concerns me is look at all these different levels above you. There's so many potential stopping points here, and you're in a pretty strong downtrend starting from May. So, I don't think that you're going to get up to 122.67 anytime soon. You're going to have to break through this level here at 118.77. So to me, now all of a sudden, we just kind of tweak this and gives us a better reward to risk ratio, or sorry, a worse reward to risk ratio, but it's more realistic. All right. And the last one, GBP USD. This one, I actually like it. The only problem is you are trending down. So again, you're kind of, my stripper named Pizza. No strippers today, guys, unfortunately. It's not that kind of day for me. But it's drifting down. Doesn't look really strong. So you're catching that falling knife again. Target-wise, I personally wouldn't move my target up that high. You've got a lot of areas here that are going to be challenging for you to get through. Even if you did something like 138.32, you still have a pretty decent reward to risk ratio. So anyway, as I rip through those questions there for Darcy, hopefully that was clear and you got some info out of that one. All right, let me show you one last thing, and then I got to run. It's clearly someone standing out in front of my house right now. Here's your economic calendar for tomorrow. Not a lot of major stuff, right? We did have some employment data today, which is much better than expected. Tomorrow we have non-farm employment change for the U.S. And unemployment rate, which everyone's expecting to drop to 5.1% for tomorrow. All right. That said, I don't have a guest for tomorrow. You guys know I like to do Friday shows solo, and I've got some new garments that were sent to me, which I will be using, hopefully wearing on the show tomorrow. So, oh yes, dang it, CEI. I told you I would get to it, so I got to do it because you asked me. Can we take a look at CEI? Got shares today at $1.76. All right, so you're chasing, buddy. Chowski, you like to just play with fire and chase things. Look, to me, and again, this is just my take, I don't like touching this type of stuff. It's too volatile. Even though you bought it as a measly $1.67, are you thinking it's going to jump up to 4.5? I mean, it could. I'd want to know maybe what are some of the driving factors there that push this thing all the way up to almost $5. But I'm a little skeptical. I personally wouldn't touch it. Too risky for me. I'd rather find something that's a little more stable. Could this be the bounce that brings it back up to $3? Sure. But honestly, this is throwing darts from my perspective on CEI. It doesn't have any high probability setup at all. It just moves. All right, there you go. I'm out of breath now. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for me. If you guys enjoyed today's show, which I hope you did, you can email me at TraderMerlin@gmail.com. You can do feedback, questions, whatever you want. Send it in there, and hopefully I will get to everybody's questions on Friday's show, because I'm going to have 2 glasses of whiskey on tomorrow's show just to have some fun and see if I can stretch that show out and make it even more entertaining. All right, that's going to do it for me. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Hope you enjoyed it. I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.